Oh boy. Welcome to welcome,
Do my best Eddie Kane impression.
welcome to We Have Something to Say with Leonard, Watkins, and Kenneth Lively. And we can't tell you what we're laughing at.
Good
So
morning, everybody.
you have to use your imagination.
Oh boy, boy.
We are gonna tell you. I want to start this show off by saying, and I'm gonna let Kenneth say it. And I just think something I have to reiterate for myself. I typically come on this show, on this podcast that Kenneth and I do, and I always try to talk about stuff in the sense of how I think it relates to the Black community. And I think with everything, good morning, Stacey. We on time. Bless your own time hearts. Oh, let's just hope we don't have any glitches today, Stacey. We got on here early to try to show them up. That
it was rough, Stacey. It was rough.
Right. At this stage of the game, we're really starting to believe it's a conspiracy because we got on here to knock out the kinks early and say, okay, it's ready. And as soon as we come on, it starts glitching up. So it's like, okay, this makes no sense. But I typically try to come from the standpoint of what I think is a 9-volt battery only costs a few dollars. Wait, a 9-volt battery for what? Miss Funny Lady, a 9-volt battery for which part? I'm on a laptop. I got 12 volts. And I put a new battery in my computer. You don't went from radical to comedian. To talk about how it affects the Black community, because I'm a firm believer that through all of our issues and problems that we have in the community, when it comes down to voting politically and policy-wise, we always
starts glitching.
Oh, you hear a smoke detector. You are too funny. That might be my smoke detector. That's in the other room. You need to turn down your microphone. And I don't think that has anything to do with whether this computer system. Boy, you came on with violence today, didn't you? Kenneth, she came on with smoke. Yeah, I better get a smoke detector for all the smoke that looks like you about to put forward. But you're right, a 9-volt battery, I guess you're right. And I say that to say what I was saying is because Maxine Waters this week got in a press conference and talked about the president. And she got pushback from people in the media. My dog is going nuts already. Oh my God, you and your dogs. You're gonna make me get up and pull the damn smoke detector out until I change the battery.
As soon as we go live, this thing starts acting up.
Yep, I know it, Kenneth. But afterwards, they'll never believe we got on here early to try to take care of that. And the pushback on Maxine Waters about whether this was helpful is so disingenuous. After this man got on a plane and called a reporter Miss Piggy. Not only did he call a reporter Miss Piggy, yesterday he told a reporter, "You're just stupid." And to watch the press, it's so deflating to watch the press not take up for other members in the press. And particularly when it comes to women reporters and his vitriol towards women reporters. And for other people not to back them up right away, to say, hey, we're just not going to tolerate you all, that you doing that without pushback is can be deflating. And when you think about it, I haven't seen April Beard lately. Maybe she lost her press credential, her White House press credentials. But I say that to say it's getting increasingly worse that African Americans have no power on the federal level. And for me, I always say this because you are not doing your job if you aren't going to be as loud as Jasmine Crockett. And that if all of the Black caucus is not going to be as loud as Jasmine Crockett, I don't think you're doing your job, because you're not getting any policy done. You're not getting any you're not getting any policy done. That's just a fact. So if you're not getting any policy done, you're not getting out in full force and making yourself known and bum rushing some of these media outlets to talk about what's going on in the Black community and to protect Maxine Waters, or if there's some strategy that Maxine Waters is the one that's been decided she's going to go out and talk like this, it seems like a scattered strategy, because if the people don't know what the strategy is, how can it be effective? Because I'm going to say this again. The 2 reps in my area, I haven't seen them no fucking place. And I know this, Stacey, I hope this doesn't come across wrong. They're Black women. And I absolutely consider them completely ineffective. I don't see them anywhere screaming to the high hills that this administration is doing what Roland said, which is completely trying to dismantle any gains that African Americans have gotten. And I think they ought to be primary. I think if you are up to that task, you shouldn't be here. This is not the time to sit back. And I think they just hedging their bets. And I'm wondering how Kenneth feels about it. I think they're just hedging their bets, hoping they can get to the midterms. And I'm, as a voter, sitting there going, I don't care how you hedge your bets. I don't know if I'm going to vote for you. Because as Martin Luther King would say, it's not in times of feast that your character comes out. Yeah, that's not how he said it. It's in times of famine and tough times. And I haven't seen them. I get that my state reps don't have a lot of money to work with. I understand that. But their own pockets. I don't get why my reps on the federal level don't. This man, literally, the story in the Washington Post came out yesterday that Pete Hegseth, they targeted a boat. First of all, they don't know who they're bombing. They tell us they're bombing boats. Now we're getting people saying, no, you're bombing fishermen. You're bombing boats that have 200-mile radius with full tanks. That where you saying they're going, they couldn't get in the open waters no matter what you did. Now you're getting word that 2 people were clinging to a blown up boat, and Pete Hegseth ordered them to be, I said the orders was to kill them all. These are brown people. These are brown people. And yeah, lack of money does not limit your voice. I don't know what they're doing. I didn't tell you to come here. Close the door. I don't know what they're doing. And I'm disappointed. And when Kenneth says, hey, well, we can't, he said this before, and he's never said this right now. We can't broadcast our strategy. What is the fucking strategy? Like, if we don't have any way to tell the body politic of the African community what y'all are trying to accomplish, how can anybody get behind you? I didn't see not one Black rep in my area come out in the last elections talk about the PSC. Not one. Not one got behind those 2 candidates. Now, I don't remember seeing them. Do you remember seeing them, Kenneth? I don't remember seeing them come out and doing ads for those 2 PSC candidates. They won by the strength of just what they did and what those grassroots organizations did about and high power bills. What are you there for? What is our strategy? What are we doing? Because they aren't slowly eroding shit. They're highly eroding shit. And I've said this numerous times. I only see one way out, one power structure out, and that's through athletics. Because I don't see us that has any control of anything else. I'm happy that the voters in Mississippi finally woke up, but they didn't wake up, but they need to wake up way more. So I don't, from the standpoint of the African American community, I don't just want to get on here and just talk about bullshit when to me, I think we have a moral authority to maintain the ground that was given to us. And what are they doing? Are they just there for the 178? I think it's $174,000 they get paid. Because I don't see them on the ground doing a goddamn thing. I really don't. And if they can't be loud and obnoxious, which is what's going to be required right now, the courts push back on the Department of Education thing. Can you explain that? Because I don't remember what the courts pushed back on. Then what are we doing? But anyway, go ahead, Kenneth. Go ahead and chime in. Well, I try to fix this beep. So her dog won't go crazy. Go ahead.
Okay. Listen, this thing has been delaying so much, so I was listening to it on my phone. So there was a delay in some of the things you said, and I missed a couple of things. First of all, who are the two Congress people from your area?
Nikema Williams and Lucy McBath.
And who else?
Lucy McBath.
Okay.
Lucy.
All right. I don't know who the other one was. To be quite honest, the entire Georgia delegation has been quiet. I've seen a couple of things that Senator Warnock has said that he's put out there, statements or videos or whatever. I've seen that, but I haven't seen from him at all. From anybody else. Nope, the entire delegation. I mean, the only thing we've heard about the Georgia delegation lately is that what's his name? I can't think of his name, but he's missed a whole bunch of votes. And I'm sorry, he didn't vote in the last couple of elections or something like that, which is kind of crazy since you're running for office. You didn't even vote for yourself. That doesn't make any sense to me. But they are absent. And I think they're trying to keep their head down because they don't want no smoke or anything like that. But, it's been proven time and time again, or at least, from his first term and from this term, that if you stand up and say something, and then he's going to push back or say, and you don't get back and go back into your shell, he won't bother you. You notice he hadn't said anything about Jasmine Crockett because he don't want that smoke. He realizes that every time he says something about Jasmine Crockett, she comes back harder, and then he has no clapback for her. He has nothing to say. So he stopped saying something. He hadn't said anything about Gavin Newsom lately because Gavin Newsom is using his playbook against him. So it's the fact that our elected officials, Democratic elected officials in Georgia aren't saying anything. It's troubling. It's kind of your job because that month and some change where the House was out for no damn reason. They could have been doing a lot of stuff during that time, a lot of community stuff. You didn't hear from them, didn't see them, none of them. And I'm talking about the Republicans either. You see anything? They did nothing. They just chilled, collected a check. They got their checks or 3 checks. They got it, but the rest of the people didn't. But you didn't get a word from them. I mean, the Democratic National Committee, they're putting out statements and stuff like that. But in terms of individual state of Georgia elected officials, state reps, U.S. reps in Congress and in the Senate, they were radio silent. So you're right, Leonard, that we need to put in some new blood, some stronger blood. People with some backbone, people that aren't afraid to get targeted because, they're going to get targeted anyway. So you might as well go ahead and say something and do the right thing. And maybe we can get be more effective. And maybe also, too, you have people who the people will get behind you. And I've said this before that people, especially black voters, are looking for a fighter, looking for somebody that's going to stand up, somebody that's going to hold people accountable. And that's what they need. And also too, and I was, Marion, before I read what you said, I just looked at it and saw what you said. I was gonna talk about that too. The fact that that case got dismissed by that punk ass prosecutor, the guy from the head of Georgia prosecutor's office, what it's called. We knew the fix was in as soon as he took the case. Now I have literally talked to a DA, a black DA, and I told him, I was like, man, you need to request that case. He said I have. He said I would. Now for them to say, for people to come back and say, especially that punk ass at the Georgia Prosecuting Council, for him to come back and say, oh, nobody would take the case, it's some bullshit. Unless dude was lying to me. Unless he was lying to me. I don't see that nobody wanted this case. Why wouldn't they want the case? That particular case will be a career changer. And it will demonstrate that you don't you demonstrate to the people that you actually are willing to fight for them, and that you are willing to treat everybody the same under the law. That's why Fonnie got a lot of respect. She got a lot of respect when she did that. She wasn't afraid to take him on. And it's a shame about what happened. It was a bunch of bull, but it happened. So now he's gonna get away with all this stuff. At least he's gonna get away with it, because by the time he gets out of office, his limitations may have run out. So he's gonna get away with something else when he should be in prison right now. It's the whole thing is all of this nonsense that's going on could have been prevented. All the pain, suffering, people, all unnecessary deaths, all the just everything that's been going on these nights, and that fool has only been in office for 11 months or 10 months. Think about that now. He's been in office for 10 months. And look at all the chaos he's caused. All the people he's hurt. All the people he had killed. This is 10 months into his administration. And this all could have been prevented if people had some damn backbone. And if our elected officials had some backbone. And spoke up when they're supposed to. We're worrying about being a target. I mean, just because you're a black elected official, you're targeting anybody who's racist. In my opinion, you're already a target. So it shouldn't stop you from doing what you're doing or what you're supposed to do. Where you going, man? Can y'all hear me? Because you ain't reacted to nothing I say. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I have my mic on mute.
Oh, we hear you. Because okay. I hear any reaction or anything. I just want to make sure. But that entire case and everything shouldn't have been dismissed. And we need to start putting people in place that are willing to fight for the country, willing to fight for it. People, elected officials, are willing to fight for their constituents.
Let me say this in
people
regard
who want to do the right thing.
Let me say this in regard to that before you move on. You and I talked about this when this was happening, and you 100% right.
Go ahead.
I do not understand this sentiment amongst black elected officials not to show a united front. I never understood why it was only Fonnie and Mayor Dickens in the courtroom that day. I never understood why all of the, particularly locally and even federally, why they didn't make phone calls to one another and say, hey, we all going to show up in the courthouse that day. And we're all going to and that that they I'm just, you and I talk about this all the time. I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to wrap my head around what is their strategy. Is it just you just trying to protect your turf? That shit does not work, like you said. You just get picked off one by one. And you don't do anything for the community. You have no power right now. You hoping that this special election up in Tennessee, and it's another one somewhere else, will put it somewhere around 218 to 217. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose by going in and saying, I'm going to back this? Because like you said, this just was some bullshit. Scott McAfee, who dismissed the case, is the one that put her off the case, who we thought was, but he's a Heritage Foundation, a member of the Heritage Foundation. Scott McAfee wasn't letting nobody get in the way of his federal judgeship. So I didn't expect Scott. I was hopeful because it seemed like he was skeptical, but I have no doubt in my mind that judges go back and talk to people too, and their friends and their organizations too. But I can't even, I'm not even mad at them for doing that. We know they do that. What are we doing? What are all these elected officials? Do they not talk to one another? I mean, you just think you're over here. Once you get in, y'all don't even at least have that in common, that you go and you present a united front for the one person that was fighting for it, or you still worried about who she's fucking. That's never computed with me. Even I disagree even with Roland on this, because I'm like, he's like, well, you know, the appearance of impropriety. When you're African American, anything elected, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. You can be as goody two shoes as you want and get one spot on your black shiny shoes, they're gonna come after you. Y'all saw that when they went after Obama, went for a tan suit. So you might as well be a benevolent dictator on your own terms, and y'all might as well come together as one united front, because you're not gonna ever win that. No one has ever won that. And it's almost as if to say they have no, as Marion would say, me and Marion talking, they have no historical perspective. That's what it comes across. So it was like, you are not going to win that by being as less black as possible. You need to lean into your blackness. You need to lean into your blackness and listen to the music you play.
Need some more elected officials that are bougie hood.
Right. You need to roll up into the Capitol playing.
You hear what I said?
Yeah. Bougie hood. You need to roll up to the Capitol parking lot playing Knuck If You Buck. You're not going to win by trying to do anything. Your community needs to see that you're behind them and that you like them and that you like being who you are, because this is not working. You should have backed Fonnie regardless, but you so worried about Nathan Wade or the appearance of impropriety. You can prove the appearance. All he has to do is show you his billable hours, which he had. But you didn't get any young black ministers to get together and say, no, we backing her. Because y'all were more worried about a black woman's sexuality and who she's sleeping with as opposed to what she doing her job. So if you're going to do that, I think you need challenges in the primaries. Because this is not working for us. Y'all haven't stopped one goddamn thing with your power of persuasion. Revolution comes, Jesus Christ is going to be standing on the corner of Leonard Avenue, trying to catch the first gypsy cab out of Harlem. Shoot. What Jesus Christ is going to be trying to do is get to the first place in Harlem, because the black folks going to be the only folks that you're going to have any protection with, just because of their own damn struggles. They don't like dogging anybody else. You know, to sit here and watch, this is a tangent, Kenneth, to sit here and watch by the way, we got to talk about the secret phone call that just came out there about him and Maduro talking. To sit here and watch what they've done to Venezuela, when them Venezuelans, 440,000 Venezuelans who were who could vote in Florida. It is amazing that everybody fucked us but the black community. And I don't even count those 22% of black men. Those 22% would have been a drop in the water. So you might as well lean into your blackness. You might as well lean into your blackness. You might as well just realize that I might as well be happy with myself and all that comes with it. Because there's a lot that comes with it. A lot that comes with it. There's a lot that comes with it. So, I mean, I say that to say I don't really know what it is we're doing collectively and strategically, and because I don't think they've done a good job of telling us what they're doing collectively and strategically as the caucus. And it seems to me that the two senior leaders we have in the Congress who are in positions of power are both are from the state of New York. And the truth of the matter is, I'm feeling a little way about that because majority of African Americans are in the South, and none of them have come on a barnstorming tour. Not a one, not Edwin Meeks, not Hakeem Jeffries. None of them have said, "Hey, man, we need to travel across the South to get these people to understand what we're doing," because they feel safe in their New York districts. But I don't necessarily think they've done anything for African Americans in the South. I see somebody just had a laughing emoji. I wonder who that was. Like, ha ha. Oh, that's Stacy. So I guess you're saying that's not gonna happen. Okay. Whoa, Stacy, boy, you came out shooting today, boy. Whoo, you're not letting nobody off the hook. As we wait for Kenneth to decide whether he's gonna come back in on his phone or not. But I think that the rules of the Congress, I don't know if it should be seniority as opposed to where most of the people in your community reside. I don't know how that works or if that ever could work. Man, I've been trying to give Hakeem Jeffries the benefit of the doubt now for well over a year since I saw. Oh no, that wasn't me. Since I saw him at this church when he was out there hawking his books, I was not impressed that I'm not saying he's not a smart guy. He probably is a very smart guy. And I'm just saying that his strategies to me have been lacking. So I no longer give him the cachet for being this super intelligent strategist. Good show today. Hey, Mr. Thomas. This strategist that knows what he's doing and knows what's in our best interest. He just hasn't shown that to me because, again, the majority of African Americans are in the South. And James Clyburn hasn't went on some barn tour. I mean, shouldn't the revolution would not be televised? I mean, I'm interested, Marion. Shouldn't that be on their agenda? They had 6 weeks to damn do a barnstorming of the South. Black churches, black whatever they want to do. If that's still the strongest institution, did any of them do it?
Yeah,
they did.
No, they didn't do anything. I said they didn't do anything. It's the biggest problem is they're running from an old playbook that you have to be safe and not ruffle feathers and all of that stuff. And that's not working anymore. It's not working anymore. Hakeem Jeffries, I know he's been schooled by Nancy Pelosi on how to get things done. And under normal circumstances, under a normal administration, with a normal president or semi-normal president, that probably would be what we need. But we got an idiot in the office, in office. And we need somebody who's going to match the energy of the idiot. That's what we need. We don't need somebody that's going to sit back and try to do things like they've always been done. We're in unprecedented times. I don't think the last time we probably had something this crazy going on was the Civil War or prior to the Civil War. And even then, I'll say this, even then, it was at least it was legitimate. They had legitimate disagreements about stuff. I'll say that. They had legitimate disagreements about stuff. But now, it's just everybody's so scared of this dude that they're not even trying to fight anything. They're not fighting for anything. They're just sitting back, letting it happen. Then come on and do and react to it, and that's it. But they don't do anything. It's a one-day reaction, and I understand that they're talking about that it's with his reactions or the stuff that he does, that it's he does so much you can't react to everything. But damn it, react to something. Be proactive on something. Do something. Like how many? It's funny how many times they tried to draft articles of impeachment of the Republicans for whatever reason, just little bullshit reasons, wore tan suits because they didn't like this policy, they didn't like Obamacare, they didn't like that. It's something, whatever he did, they tried to smoke. And this stuff was illegal. This dude Trump is literally doing illegal stuff. And how many times has Trump have we heard of the Democrat coming up with articles of impeachment? Whether or not they go through the floor or not doesn't make a difference. It still should be done. It should still show that we are fighting for that they are fighting for us. Because everybody knows the shit that he's doing. Anybody with any semblance of right and wrong knows what he's doing is illegal. Killing those people on the boat, and you have no idea who they are because they're just in a boat. Now, whether or not they're transporting drugs is neither here nor there, because they're in international waters. They're literally in international waters. They're not violating any law in the United States at all. And those same boats that they're talking about don't have the capacity to go all the way to the United States. As far as it goes, other Caribbean states, other Caribbean countries, they can't go any further than that. They can't make it to the United States. So here it is. You're bombing people, killing people just because it's Tuesday, and nobody's saying it. I don't care what the Supreme Court said in reference to. As long as the president can articulate that it's he's doing this for security of the United States, he can do whatever he wants to. I don't believe in that bullshit. Test the goddamn waters. Every time they send they bomb a boat, impeach his ass. Try to impeach him. Or better yet, try to impeach Hegseth. Because he's putting the order into. He don't have that protection. And you can impeach a cabinet member. You can do that. So go ahead and start impeachment proceedings against him. The stuff that Pam Bondi is doing with the DOJ. Appointing people, well, I'll say this. Those aren't really impeachable offenses that she's done, because technically she haven't committed the crime. She just went against the court. But what's her name? The other one that's head of Homeland.
Well, Christy,
she's violated. She's had people violate. Had ordered. Yeah, Christy, no. They have people violating people's rights under her orders. Some of these people need to be held accountable and stop worrying about whether or not they are, whether or not these people, whether or not it's going to stick, whether or not they get removed from office. Start the proceedings. Put it out there. No, he doesn't have blanket immunity for all his actions, Marion. They said that he has blanket immunity against if he can articulate that it's and for the safety of the country or something, like security of the country. That's what they're saying. He don't have blanket immunity. He just can't. That whole thing of I can walk up on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody in the face. He don't have immunity for that. Because you can't, there's no way he can articulate that that's something that somebody is doing, that's that person was doing something against national security. He can't do that. So he can't do everything, get away with every illegal thing. But there is some stuff. There are limitations to what he's capable of doing. And also too, an impeachment, just because they're saying that the president can't be tried or convicted of those crimes that he commits. They didn't say he couldn't be removed from office. Didn't say that. That blanket immunity or that immunity does not apply to only applies to the U.S. attorney and district attorneys and things of that nature. That's what it applies to. It does not apply to Congress trying to remove him from office. So those things right there, I would do it. Every week I would draw up another article of impeachment. Just every week, put it out there. And go in front of the press and say, listen, this man did that, it's illegal, and all that. Let's go ahead. We're gonna try to impeach him. Whether they go anywhere or not, at least you're trying something. At least you're doing something. Not sitting back collecting the check. Because that's all they're doing. Al Green did do that. And in case y'all didn't know, we ain't talking about the Al Green what's the song? What's one of Al Green's songs? Love and Happiness. We ain't talking Love and Happiness, Al Green. We're talking about Congressman Al Green. So just in case some of y'all don't know who he's talking about.
You about to lose your black card. I know you about to lose your black card if you couldn't come up with an Al Green song. I know that. I know that. I think that what Marion is saying is,
you know what? The funny thing, I was coming up with lyrics in my head.
I think that what Marion is saying is, who gonna check him?
But I mean, I understand what Marion is saying. Yeah, I understand all of that. But my thing is, just because they gave him immunity for against criminal prosecution, if you the Constitution says somebody can be removed from office for 3 reasons: treason, bribery, and high crimes and misdemeanors. That high crimes and misdemeanors covers a lot of stuff. That covers a lot of stuff. Anything that the president does that if they were a regular citizen, they would be prosecuted for. So even though they gave him blanket immunity from getting prosecuted in criminal court, there's no blanket immunity from him being impeached. None whatsoever. Unless I missed that part of the thing. Because I haven't heard anything about them saying that he can't be impeached. Because a crime is a crime. And articles of impeachment, any crime. Any crime. Remember, they got Bill Clinton. They tried to, they impeached Bill Clinton, but he wasn't removed from office. But they impeached him because he lied in a civil case. I mean, it's just that simple. He lied in the case, and they impeached him. Andrew Johnson, I think it was Andrew Johnson, was impeached by Congress because he fired a member of his cabinet, the Secretary of War. He fired him against Congress's orders, and they impeached him. So all of this whole thing about he can't be held accountable for it, he can. The question is anybody willing to do it?
The question is, do they have the power?
We need people who are willing to do it, people who want to fight for this.
I think that Karen Pritchard, I appreciate you doing this project.
You mean, do they have power? Do they?
Well, no, I think that there's thanks for joining us, Karen. We appreciate it. I think that white women have basically been silent as he has attacked their reporters. That's where we are now. Yeah, white women who are on that plane, and I think they're in a real weird position, and the white women reporters are in a real weird position. And I think I've always believed that, man, it's hard to have courage when that rubber hits the road. And that's why you have some different people on this planet. It's hard. I'm still the president of the goddamn United States. And that's still the person that can cause you a lot of goddamn problems when you step off that plane. And it's not going to be him that's causing you problems. It's going to be all them idiots up under him that's going to be pushing the mechanisms to cause you problems. We've seen Reagan do that. So I think, I always want y'all to realize that it's easy to talk shit until it's time to punch somebody in the face, knowing that they're going to punch you back. I just believe that our community and our reps don't have any other way to go. And I told you, I always try to keep my conversations within the confines of how does it affect our community. That y'all don't have any other way to go. And that's what Kenneth and I are saying. You don't, and Marion, we talk about it. You don't, and y'all, and I can't even see what your strategy is. Like, I don't see you barnstorming the church. I know it's hard work. But for 6 weeks you had off. I mean, but some, like I heard this black lady say, no, we still here. Some of the Democrats were still there. But for 6 weeks you had, if you don't have the cachet which you can get in churches on Sundays, 2 or 3, to say, I'm just coming here to talk about it. I don't know if you're the person for the job. If you haven't gotten with the mayor of Atlanta or the city council members of Atlanta or and the state reps of Atlanta, y'all haven't sat down and did a powwow somewhere to say, hey man, what's the strategy? What are we gonna do? Who has the loudest voice? Who can be the most persuasive? I don't know. I just don't know if you're the person for the job. It doesn't seem to be that way, because this president is really making you a non-factor. We are literally, as Marion said in a comment he said up above, which is basically what he was saying, which is, I ain't read it, but I hope y'all saw it. When the revolution happens, as he said, niggas gonna be partying, and bullshitting. Because you got to have people that can get people, motivate people. A lot of damage has been done through the public education system. I mean, we're all over the place, but there's many reasons. But we are where we are. And how do we now go forward with some semblance of a strategy? And are they strategizing? Because as somebody who pays attention to this stuff, I just don't see it. Do you see it, Marion? Do you see it, Stacey? I don't see it. And if I don't see it, and I'm somebody that pays attention to this shit, the people who don't pay attention to people who don't put a lot of stock into it, definitely not gonna see it. So you definitely ineffective if I can't see it and I pay attention to it. And as far as the president goes, the Venezuelan thing, I'm gonna keep telling y'all, it's just a grift. They have billions of barrels.
I think they're trying to get control of the Venezuelan oil.
Yes, they just the rep.
That's what I think they're trying to do. Get control of that oil.
Yeah, the rep from Florida said it the other day on Fox Business, and she's Cuban. What is up with these fucking Cubans? Just don't give a. I mean, what? Everybody in the Republican Party is going to make money off this grift. I truly believe that. There's going to be different levels of money. Marjorie made damn near $5 million in the early January on her stock trades. This is gonna be, but the big money, and now we know that him and Maduro, Trump called Maduro, because it's just reported that this morning secretly on what's the day? Tuesday, as he's saber rattling with ships off their coast. It's a grift. It's a grift, and the ultimate get out of jail free card, they all know that he's going to pardon them, or whoever's controlling that auto pen is going to pardon them. It's a grift. It's a grift. And it's funny because how many of you all really believe that the Secretary of HUD is going to get any money from the grift? He ain't getting shit. He ain't getting nothing. He's not going to become a multi-billionaire.
He's just happy to be there.
He's just happy to be there.
He's just happy to be there. He knows you'll never see any. You never see or hear anything from him.
Nothing. I saw something.
You never see any. You never see him or hear anything from him.
Nothing. So I mean, from our sake and our purposes,
because ain't saying nothing from him.
Yeah, we can get in all kinds of tangents. The question is, do we call these people on the carpet and do we primary? And that's the only question. Because they're hoping for another chance. They're hoping, oh man, but if we can get through the 2026 elections and we're going to be able to do something. Professor Scott Gallo says the right has control of the culture narrative. There's nothing to do with rational art. Exactly. I agree with that. And I believe that the right has the narrative of the culture narratives, because not enough. Man, maybe I put too much on African Americans. I honestly believe that we could be magic. I really do. I think it's just incredible what we've come through to be where we are, to build what we build, and to be as culturally relevant And they cannot stop this no matter what they do. But they don't have one person up there that can go and speak to what Scott Galloway is saying, the cultural narratives. And it's they do have a control of the cultural narratives. I think there's been some shift in it with the number of podcasts that are now out there instead of the bro podcast, with these misogynistic, male chauvinistic males that some of these 22% of black men think they're part of. It's like, you ain't a part of that, nigga. What you think you're a part of? You ain't a part of that. But I think it's trying to shift. I think I've seen white women trying to shift it. I watched the 2 women out of Oklahoma. You can't ask her to be more blunt than she is, because she downright calls some of those men pussies. She had Jeff Duncan on, and I felt bad for Jeff Duncan. And we need to start calling for what it is. When you have Jared Kushner and a group of men who happen to be Jewish, that's not anti-Semitic to point that shit out. But we're so scared to do it because they made us scared after Kyrie Irving. Adam Silver ain't about to put all the black players out the goddamn league. You're going to have to force some of these people to stand up on something. And stop thinking that every rail is a rail that you can't push the button on, because they don't give a damn about our rails. They could care less about what rails we think are sacred. Care less. They could care less. And they become more and more emboldened. So, the Venezuelan thing has always been a grift. I don't have to have all your oil, but I got to have enough of it to stem the tide from the Saudis and their influence. And Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. It's called dirty oil. You have to process it a lot, but it could be processed so they wouldn't be down there. And it's worth trillions of dollars. And they don't want all those trillions, but everybody in that administration up there at the top wants some portion of those trillions. And we let people like Kushner and all them. He is a mediocre white boy who just happens to be the same faith as the leaders of Israel. That's it. And you're making him astronomically rich on corpses. They were only 37 approval ratings would win the president election today. Why? Because white women are voting to support their man. I don't believe that. I don't believe he win the president election today. I think Scott. I think. Look, Scott ain't right about everything.
He done pissed off too many people.
Yeah, Scott ain't right about everything.
Way too many people today. He
Look, let me say this about Scott. I'm gonna let you go.
That whole thing.
Scott is blaming. Scott has got on TV and blamed uncomfortably everything that's happened in Gaza on Hamas. So he's not right about everything. Because there is in no way, shape, form, fashion, in any kind of way that you can say the exchange rate has been the same. 400,000 Gazans, including maybe 100,000 children. Even if you looked at it from just a purely unemotional level versus 1,200, there is nowhere in the world with our bombs and 60% of the public not supporting it. Come on, man. Come on. I love Scott to death. I do. I'm a fan of Scott Galloway's, but he's not infallible. And his partner told him that too. And she's Jewish. His partner told him that. Come on, Scott. So anyway, I'm sorry, Kenneth.
I was gonna say, with Marion said 37% that Trump would probably be reelected. He wouldn't be reelected because the people who he's also his people, his MAGA folk are upset with him too. And it's not just because of that Epstein thing. It's because they're hurting. They thought, as you know, like we've said this time and time again, they thought that this was only what Trump was going to do was only going to affect people of color. They think it was going to affect them. When they start losing their benefits, when their Medicaid was cut, Their Social Security was cut. Their benefits, health benefits were. All those things affect them more, and even SNAP benefits coming up with all kinds of new requirements for SNAP to receive SNAP benefits. That affects them more than it affects us. So he's slowly but surely losing his base. So he wouldn't win. He wouldn't win at all. And plus, not only has he lost his base, they probably won't vote for a Democrat. They probably won't vote at all. And the other people on the other side, it's motivated them to vote. It's he can't run again anyway. He can't run again, but unless he suspends the elections and issues a blanket thing for martial law and then suspends the elections. Now, that might be part of his playbook. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it's his playbook. But doesn't mean it's going to happen this time. Because it should, at that point, if he does try to do that, there's actually going to be a revolution in this country. Which he promised not going to be over issue of who's enslaved or a civil war just to save the country, period. And the question is, where's some people going to fall down on it? Where's the military going to go? I happen to think, and been somebody in the military, there's a lot of people who, maybe some people in the a lot of people in the military who agree with him, but on a policy level, but the country so he can stay in office, that's a bridge too far for most of them, in my opinion. But we'll have to see what happens. We'll know a telltale sign. We have a sign by next year as we get close to the midterms. If he pulls some bullshit about sending troops to the cities to protect the election or whatever bullshit line he comes up with, excuse he comes up with, or the cities are unsafe and we need to impose martial law, then suspend however he phrases it. If he does that, tries that, then we know what his ultimate goal is. Then he will have revealed his hand. And that's going to be a problem. In my opinion, it'd be a problem for a lot of people, even his constituents, his voters, his followers. I think it'll be a bridge too far. Now, I may be wrong. Hopefully, I'm not. If it comes to that point where people have to decide, hopefully they'll do the right thing. But it remains to be seen. We have to wait and see, basically. In the meantime, we need to have more Democrats pushing back on his bull, not just sitting back being reactive. I'll say this, the people who came up with Project 2025, they made some serious, what's the word on that?
Yeah, what you gonna say about
their
that?
decisions? The plan that they came up was ingenious. It was ingenious. It was ingenious, and they were able to get the plan together because they banked on racism. They banked on people not wanting to vote or not voting for her. All of that stuff. They put plans in place to get what they wanted. And they worked that plan. They worked it. And people might think this is a phenomenon that came about with Trump. No, this has been going on. They've been trying to do this, at least the first part of it, ever since Roe versus Wade. They worked since 1972 to overturn Roe versus Wade. And when they saw that was coming up, they actually went ahead and started coming up with other plans to do the things that they want. And now I can't read everything that you're saying, Marion, but that is this Project 2025 is a reincarnation of Mein Kampf.
Let me say this. Let me say
if you
this.
see what Trump is doing, he's following that. He's following the playbook.
Let me say this. I always think that y'all, and I do believe this about most people, including you, they were willing to break what we thought was a social contract. And the social contract is you just lie through your teeth. And it's hard for most decent human beings to combat lies with lies. What you typically try to combat lies with is the truth. And they were willing to just lie. They had Supreme Court justices who are now confirmed who got up and lied during their confirmation. And it's hard for me and you. Let's be honest. If somebody was out there just lying on us, you and I would try to refute the lie with the truth. We wouldn't just start lying on them. That's because that's just not really part of our, as my mom would say, our Constitution, right? And they were willing to do that. And it took us a minute to because I want to touch on what happened with the National Guardsmen. It took us a minute to accept that, Democrats. And I don't think y'all would disagree with that. He's still lying through his teeth. Like he lied, and he has somebody running his true social network because he ain't not writing all that. That man is suffering from dementia. That man has had TIAs. He's had 2 visits to Walter Reed Hospital in the middle of the night, and that's probably TIAs. And I've been following this guy. That's all he does is strokes and dementia and geriatric patients on Instagram. I'll send it to you. And he's always saying, no, he has heart congestion, heart failure. I've seen this before. They just, in order to get what they want, they're willing to lie to anybody because they know that if I can lie to you based on your emotions and your prejudices, you will be more likely to believe them. And by the time you don't believe them, we are entrenched. They just lie. And all of us would have had a hard time dealing with that. And it's amazing because I watch people like James Carville, who's supposed to be this great strategist. He's never come out and say, lie on the back. The first person that seems to have some strategy that's working is Gavin Newsom. Which is why people are behind him right now. It's like, hey, you want to do that? We're going to do it to you too. But it takes a minute to change who you are, which is, man, I have some red lines I don't want to cross. But I want to say this about because I got to go. I don't know what people expected to happen. And I'm so sorry for that National Guardsman, those 2 young kids who got shot. 1 killed, 20 years old. But it's a 29-year-old Afghani who worked for the CIA and worked on the side of the Americans in Afghanistan. And y'all just left him. I don't. Sometimes the cognitive dissonance of white folks and white folks in power is unbelievable. But maybe again, they knew stuff like this was going to happen and they already had it baked in the plan. You thought that one of those people wasn't going to snap and you done left his family members there to deal with those shit. I don't know what you call the Taliban, but I wouldn't want to be ruled by the Taliban. I would not want to be ruled by the Taliban. And you expected this guy who came in and was vetted, and there's no telling who he was begging to get his family out of there. He's 29. He's a young guy. There's no telling you start doing whatever you got to do against the system. Wait a minute. And I don't know what they expected when they get us. Oh, it's a tragedy. Wait a minute. Okay, I'll take care of it. Put it right there. I don't know. That's my grandson. I don't know what they expected was going to happen with all these people that they abandoned when those people realized you just used us. And that's what Trump did. He just used them because that's what you do to people of color to get what you want. You just use them. You're just using Maduro. You're just using the Venezuelans now to get to their oil. You just want to use Nigeria. Because you think that you are, because of your military, the captains of the universe, because we don't hear anything about Burkina Faso. There's some bits and pieces going out about what's going on in France, if you could believe it. But they just want control all the resources, close the door. And I don't know what made that 29-year-old Afghani snap. But nobody, you got to know that you're going to die if you're going to go and shoot 2 National Guardsmen. You're trying to send a statement. That's a statement. He wasn't crazy. He wasn't some lunatic. They vetted him. That was a statement of his dissatisfaction about how his people in Afghanistan was treated by the powers that be. And I don't think he thought he could do anything else. Does he need to pay for the punishment? Yeah, but we need to start looking at our policies. Because I had gotten into an argument with somebody the other day. And I said to them, you never want to address the policies that you have in place in South America to make the people do what they do when they try to get to the United States. You never want to address you undermining governments for their resources. Never. And working for rich white men and white corporations, because that's all this is. And until you get these people out, they may be so entrenched. Now they're doing a guilty by association roundup because of that one incident. Yeah. Didn't he come back over here with 5 family members? Yes, Mary, he did. But you think those were his only family members? You don't think he's still in touch with other family members, letting him know what's going over in Afghanistan? Come on, you can't. Come on now, Mary. Come on. Come on. He's just supposed to forget about all the other people over there when he thought what he was doing was the right thing because you promised him that, hey, you're going to change the government? Come on. So, anyway, go ahead, Kenneth. You got the last word. Kenneth, you here?
I finally get talking. I only talk for 3 minutes the whole show today. I'm feeling something.
Don't nobody believe that. Don't nobody believe that.
Anyway. It's let's say it's we just need to Democrats need to step up and do this. Do this they're supposed to do. We've already determined that. Do this.
You cut off, bro. All the way off. We can't hear a thing you saying.
Step up and get some cojones. Stop being scared. We might get somewhere. We might get what we want. We might be able to
Kenneth, I'm gonna say this, and because we keep getting cut off. Stacy, I'm listening to a podcast about that right now called Radical, and there's so many questions about that. Let me put it this way: for Andrew Young to come out and say, "I don't believe he did it," at his sentencing. And he's a former mayor of Atlanta, says a lot to me. They didn't find any gunshot wounds on him. They didn't find any of his blood on the ground. When they caught him in Alabama, he had no wounds. And I know a lot about the backstory of what was going on over there because I know a couple of the brothers over there who were hustling when he came in. And we can talk about that. I would love to talk about that. And the warnings that he sent out. So a couple of things I know that are true about what Atlanta thought, what some of the FBI thought he was doing. Some of those things are true. I didn't know that. I did not know that. But I also believe that H. Rap Brown and Jamil Al-Amin understood that it was a certain language he had to talk in order to clean that neighborhood up. I've done deliveries over there. I'm gonna let you go to white customers who love that neighborhood because they feel safe around them. And they have told me that, oh, I love being around here because I don't worry about anything because the Muslims over here, that group of Muslims don't let any crime happen over there. I tell people that all the time. And I know 2 street hustlers who were hustling over there at their peak who have told me the ultimatums they were given to get out of that neighborhood. And I don't know what was I just refuse to believe that he came out shoot rat-a-tat-tat, and he didn't have any reason to do so. There was something else going on involved. So yeah, we could talk about that. So Kenneth, I don't know if you're still here. I'm gonna end this. I will make that a point to talk about it next week. That goes along the line of what I've always been saying for the last year. I'm the niece of that Alpha Jumper. I would love to hear it. That's been going on what I've been saying about Black communities for the last year. I've been using that Muslim sect and what they did in the West End community, and how safe that community has become because of them, not in spite of them. I know police officers, and they pretty much keep crime down over there. You know, we might have to go in to say certain things they can't do, but you know, that's a long conversation for the Black community to have. So, but I think we ought to have it. But with that being said, y'all, I'm gonna let us go. Stacey, I'll make it a point to talk about that next week. We'd love to have you on the show to talk about it. I'll send you an invite. We'd love to have you on the show to talk about what you know. But rest in peace, Aman Jamil Alameen, H. Rap Brown, who never was going to let us not understand what it is to be a strong, courageous Black man. So peace. All right, y'all. Peace out.